Shalom, more praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, double lines the Apostle GMS. This is I'm Allah coming at you in the video. Now in this video, I want to go into the book of I want to start off with 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 16. Because I got to do a show on this. You had the situation that happened when Donald Trump was shot at a rally, because he's a presidential candidate running to become the president of the United States once again. And it's saying that he was shot at a rally, or shot at. Whether he was shot or shot at, that's a big deal to attempt to assassinate a presidential candidate. When is the last time that something like that has happened? You know what I mean? So that's a real big deal. So let's get to that. 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 16 in the Apocrypha. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Now let's look at that word right there, sedition. What does that word sedition mean? Sedition, let's go on Google, type in sedition meaning. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. So a speech that's inciting people to rebel, or it's conduct that rebels. One incites people to rebel, or rebellious conduct. Well, shooting at a presidential candidate, that's an act of sedition right there. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. And somebody say, well, wait a minute, hold on, brother. He's not a president, though. Yeah, but he's a former president, and he's a presidential candidate. So he's still an authority figure of some degree. It's not like, he's some buyer that work in Walmart. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read down a little bit more. Right here it says, what's a simple definition of sedition? This is from Merriam-Webster.com. It says, the crime of creating a revolt, disturbance, or violence against lawful civil authority, or with the intent to cause its overthrow or destruction. Compare criminal syndicalism, sabotage, seditious. So there you go. And he even asks what does it mean in the Bible. This says 2 Corinthians 12 and 20. It says disturbance is leading up to fighting. So it's a disturbance. Violence against a lawful civil authority. It's not shooting somebody or shooting at someone in an act of violence, of course. All right, now still in verse 16, it says, for there shall be sedition among men, or disturbances against lawful civil authority, right? Or speech or conduct inciting rebellion, and invading one another. That's nothing that's going to happen. It's going to be race wars in this country. It's going to be class wars. Invading one another. You're gonna have Trump supporters going at it with Biden supporters. Democrats going at it with Republicans. Invading one another, coming against one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And this whole thing could cause a civil war. Believe it or not. And then you had that picture of Trump with his ear bleeding, with his fist up, and that was in a cover of I think the New York Post or the Daily News. So come on now. You know what I mean? That's a big thing. That's gonna be like that. Oh, look, Trump got shot. Oh, he got shot, and he stood there with his fist up, bold and brave and bold in the face of adversity. And people gonna love that. People gonna love that, because this could all be what's the word I'm looking for? I just had it in my mind. A publicity stunt, or it could be the real thing. But it's still gonna lead to these things written in the scriptures, because the prophecy is not gonna fail. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. See? They're not going to regard their kings nor princes. Meaning what? A king and a prince is an authority figure. A king will be the highest authority figure. A prince will be the lower one. So it could be a president will be likened to a king. Princes could be a senator, a governor, a presidential candidate. So kings and princes are just likened to rulers. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Meaning they're going to do what they want to do. So they're not gonna regard their kings nor princes. They're not gonna care. You know, you got people over the internet speaking out against Biden, speaking out against Donald Trump, calling Biden old, calling Biden senile. Now they're seeing somebody try to assassinate Donald Trump. See that? I want to read a little into this article. It says suspect came within, this is from Reuters. Suspect came within inches of killing Trump, but left few clues as to why. Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, July 14th. The portrait pieced together so far, the 20-year-old nursing home aide who allegedly tried to assassinate Donald Trump at an election rally reveals frustratingly little about why he would make such an attempt, or how he managed to come so close to killing the former president. The early details that have emerged about Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was shot dead by law enforcement. See that? Thomas, Matthew, those are biblical names. Those are names of disciples. Now, obviously, I'm not saying he's a man of law, but, you know, this is the Lord's doing. And what he did was, you know, an act of being a crook. That was a crime. Who was shot dead, and that's his last name, Crooks, who was shot dead by law enforcement, showing a young man working at an entry-level job near his hometown in Pennsylvania, where he graduated from high school in 2022 with a reputation as a bright but quiet classmate. His high school counselor described him as respectful and said he never knew Crooks could be political. And like I said before, this whole thing could be a publicity stunt. This guy might not even exist. But, you know, this is how the United States government work. The FBI said on Sunday that Crooks' social media profile does not contain threatening language, nor have they found any history of mental issues. They said he acted alone and have not identified a motive. What is unique about Crooks when compared to other recent shooters who opened fire at schools, churches, malls, and parades is that he came within inches of killing a presidential candidate. On Saturday afternoon, Crooks slipped onto a rooftop location 150 yards, 140 meters, from the stage where Trump was speaking in Butler, Pennsylvania. He began firing an AR-15 rifle, an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle purchased by his father, officials said. The gunfire killed a 50-year-old man, critically wounding two other spectators, and struck Trump's ear, an assassination attempt that was further inflamed an already bitter U.S. political divide. See? It further inflamed an already bitter U.S. political divide. Further inflamed it, made it worse. Remember, instead of invading one another, remember that scripture? We read that? A resident of Bethel Park, about an hour away from where the shooting occurred, Crooks was a registered Republican who would have been eligible to cast his first presidential vote in the November 5th election in which Trump is challenging President Biden. Public records show his father is a registered Republican and his mother a registered Democrat, and that as a 17-year-old, Crooks made a $15 donation to a Democratic Party cause. See that? How much more is left in this article? I don't really want to read the whole thing. It's not that much left. Okay. It says, Crooks was employed as a dietary aide at a nursing home at the time of the shooting. His home administrator said in a statement, "We are shocked and saddened to learn of this involvement as Thomas Matthew Crooks performed his job without concern and his background check was clean," said Marcy Grimm, administrator of the Bethel Park Skilled Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Never known to be political. 2 years ago, Crooks graduated from the local high school where he showed no particular interest in politics. According to one classmate who asked not to be identified, Crooks' interest centered on building computers and playing games, the classmate said in an interview. He was super smart. That's what really kind of threw me off. This was like a really, really smart kid. Like he excelled, the classmate said. Nothing crazy ever came up in any conversation. Jim Knapp, who retired from his job as the school counselor at Bethel Park High School in 2022, said Crooks had always been quiet as a church mouse, respectful and kept to himself, although he did have a few friends. He really came across Crooks because he wasn't a needy type kid, Knapp said. Crooks was content to occasionally eat lunch by himself in the school cafeteria, said Knapp, who would engage such students to see if they wanted company. Kids weren't calling him names, kids weren't bullying him, Knapp said. Knapp said he never knew Crooks to be political in any way, even as other kids would sometimes wear Trump or Biden attire. He added that he couldn't recall Crooks ever being disciplined in school. Anybody could snap, anybody could have issues, he said. Something triggered that young man and drove him to drive up to Butler yesterday and do what he did. The Most High triggered him. Residents near the Crooks home described feeling shocked and unsettled with an assassination attempt has been linked to a person from the sedate city of 33,000 people. Bethel Park is a okay. Bethel Park is a pretty blue collar type of area. Um, and think that somebody was that close is a little insane, said Wes Morgan, a 42-year-old who works at an investment management company and bikes with his children on the same street as the Crooks residence. A couple standing on the porch of their nearby brick ranch-style home was left processing the events and spotlight on their neighborhood. There's never been a gun issue. Never been the police being called. Mary Prislak, 67, said along her side her husband. You have to wonder what didn't he get in life? What led to this extreme? Crook's gun, an AR-15 style 556 rifle, had been legally bought, the FBI official said, adding that the FBI believed it had been purchased by the suspect's father. The official said a suspicious device was found in the suspect's vehicle, which was inspected by bomb technicians and rendered safe. Bruce Pendle, owner of Allegheny Arms and Gunswork in Bethel Park, said guns were part of the culture in the area. You have to understand, in western Pennsylvania, we have a rich tradition of hunting and fishing and outdoor stuff, he said. Within 10 miles, 16 kilometers of here, there are a ton of gun clubs. Pendle said his record showed he did not sell any firearms to the shooter, but declined to say whether he sold to any to his family. That's between me and God, Pendle said. Now, there's other scriptures I want to get on this, but as you can see, it's past the 10-minute mark, and I don't want this to be too long. It could be 15 or 20 minutes, but people may not watch. But apart from them watching, it doesn't really matter who's gonna see it. It's who the Most High want to see it. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna end it here because I don't want it to be too long. I try to keep my videos between 10 and 15 minutes. It's almost at the 15-minute mark now, so I'm gonna continue on from here with a part 2, Lord will. So with that, I'm gonna close and say, "Oh praise, how about Shemel Shah, the blind see Apostle GMS, also brother learn something, Shalom."